So I walked in, right, and I can do voices and accents and all of that, right? So then I go up to there's this guy, sort of old school, very much, sort of English director. And so he's there with the casting director, right? And I walk in and I go, hello. And he went, oh, you're Welsh. Ah, right. Right. Okay. Oh well. There are other parts in the production.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Telling Welsh Stories. I'm Nick, and this is Wales in the Movies, and I'm buzzing rather hard to invite a rather hirsute-looking Welsh heavyweight thespian, Mr. Julian Lewis Jones. Julian, what's happening?
Bore da. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I've gone for the sort of Grizzly Adams look, I think. I don't like to shave when I'm not filming unless I have to. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
So, yeah, why not? And it's winter, so, well, it's actually spring now, officially, isn't it? So.
And that was me, manscaping carefully this morning just for my big moment, and, there you go. It suits you, looking hirsute.
It'd be like Velcro, both of us.
Oof. Let's not go there, shall we? I'll touch on that in a minute. So, where are you, by the way?
I'm at home in Langaredig in Carmarthenshire.
Right, tidy.
Yeah.
Okay, so for people watching, I'm hoping there's a few. We actually met, which you probably don't remember because you'd been to the Rugby World Cup in 2019. Where was that, by the way? Japan. Okay, I'm a bit of a footy man, you see. Pardon me.
Oh.
So yeah, you'd been to Japan, and I'd been to Finland to meet someone in Helsinki. Mm. That person stood me up. So I was in Finland on my own for 3 days, which is quite expensive, by the way, if you like a pint. And so I was on my own in bars and cafes a lot. And one of the ways I entertained myself, right, was to look at your Instagram, because you were posting loads in Japan for the World Cup, weren't you? And I was like, now, in that weekend, I found myself thinking about you more than usual, if you don't mind me saying so, because I was looking at your Instagram.
Of course.
And then for people watching this, I was on a connector flight from Helsinki to Amsterdam, and you were on a connector flight from Tokyo, I'm guessing, to Amsterdam, back to Cardiff. And I got on the plane after 2 days of looking at your Instagram posts, having never met you, and there's Julian Lewis Jones on my connector flight. So I was quite surreal. So
it was, yeah. We'd been delayed by 2 days, I think. There was a mix-up with the flights. The computers had gone down in Cardiff on our way out, and there was no kind of record of us actually flying out from Cardiff. So then that's how we ended up in Schiphol Airport. So, and having that flight and, yes, meeting you.
Oh, lovely. You lucky man. So I'm sure you can tell by this picture that there's me cornering you in the forecourt, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
One person who's clearly very accustomed to going on camera, and one person who isn't so much.
Yeah, I actually look all right in that picture.
Are you doing well?
Yeah, because a lot of stuff in Japan, it was pretty heavy going, if you know what I mean. But it was an amazing experience being out there. I was only talking about it yesterday, actually. I'd love to go back to Japan, spend more time there and explore more of the country. We were mainly based in Tokyo, and it was fantastic. I was just so impressed by the country, by the people. Honestly, I came back thinking, my God, we could learn something from these guys, For that to be, running the way it does, it's just testament to them as a nation, really.
Yeah, I never been. Spent a bit of time in South Asia and southern in New Zealand, which is small population, but very similar in terms of efficiency and cleanliness and all that stuff, So I'm going to talk about, just so for people who are watching, Welsh film, TV fans. So Julian, I'm going to run a bit through a resume now. So films you've been in, Invictus, talking about rugby, The Bank Job, which I watched recently, which I love, Zero Dark 30, and of course Justice League. And from a Welsh angle, you were in, I think you were in I'll Be There with Charlotte Church, weren't you? And Craig Ferguson. Were you in that film?
Oh, you know what? I've never actually seen it. I don't. I thought, God, you're going back a while now.
Yeah. 2003.
Yeah. Was it 2003? Was it?
Yeah. Part of my job, you see.
I think a lot of the time, you know, before that, I've been doing a lot of theatre. So, that was kind of one of my first movies in that regard, I think.
And you were in Solomon Arena as well, weren't you?
Yeah, that was back in '98, I think. Yeah, that was a good film. That was a nice little experience, actually.
And then you also moved on to, well, you're in TV as well, which is like Stella, Hinterland you've been in. I've even been catching up on Torchwood recently, and I caught you in that just yesterday when you blew your own brains out.
Yeah. That was us going back a while.
Yeah.
I was the original Captain Jack, if you like.
Yeah.
And it was to do with the millennium, wasn't it? At the turn of the millennium, then everything changed or something, and I blew my brains out. 1999, Prince, whatever. So that was short-lived. Torchwood.
Cameo in Torchwood. Okay, so I'm going to ask you about, you've added to kind of your list there, the ones I was going to talk about. I'm suspecting or assuming that, because there's a new cut of Justice League where you played King of Atlantis. Do you reckon you're going to be in that cut a little bit more?
I mean, I loved doing the job, right, for a start. Regardless of if I'd have been on, I'm in the film, I know. You know, I'm in it for a few seconds, but I'm in it. And certain people are not in the film. And they are really big actors, my heroes, people like Willem Dafoe, you know, who was cut from the film. I could not believe it, you know. An amazing costume, amazing kind of look for it. And so I walk into, you know, the makeup truck one morning, and then I look over who's in the chair next to me, and he's getting all this kind of makeup and stuff like this. And his voice gave it away, right? And I'm going, bloody hell, that's Willem Dafoe. Sure, it's Willem Dafoe, right? And it was so secretive, the whole set, because there's so much interest in these superhero movies and stuff. And then I came out, right? I had to, you know, put a costume on or something because otherwise it interfere with the beard. And I said to the head of makeup, I says, excuse me, is that Willem Dafoe next to me? And he says, oh yeah, oh sorry, I should have introduced you, right? So then I go back in, and Willem is still there, and go, hi Willem, I'm Julian. I'm playing, King of Atlantis, and he's like, oh hi, yeah, I'm playing, I think his name's Vulko, and so are you Aquaman's father? I'm going, I don't know. He went, maybe I'm his father. I don't fucking know. And it was like it was bizarre. You're kind of there next to one of your acting heroes.
How about working with him? So what's working with Snyder like?
Oh, he's wonderful. He's a great guy. He's an absolute pleasure to work with, you know. And I was told for a start, right, there might not be any lines for this part, but they want a presence, right? Because in this storyline is the history lesson, or whatever they call it. So I had to audition for it. And then, like 2 months later, right, I was offered it. So then I had to go to Warner Brothers. I took it up. Obviously, I didn't care really. It was a chance to work with Zack Snyder, who I think is a genius. And also, you know, it's exciting. You know, I've never done this sort of film before. I think I had probably about 6 costume fittings because they have to get it absolutely right. The look and the designer is there, and they take so much time and energy, you know, designing the costume so they're exactly what Zack wants, you know. So then I was kind of back and forth then for a bit, and then I was there for a solid 6 weeks, and then we had to do like training for it to fit into the costume, probably. So I got to sort of stay in a fantastic hotel with you know, the cast and breakfast with Ray, who plays, Cyborg. I'm training, I get picked up in the morning or whatever it was, and I go to the Warner Brothers gym, and Ezra would be there, be training with Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, Jason Momoa, myself, and then I got to train with the Amazons, which was brilliant. So I was training with the girls, right? Pardon?
Robin Wright Penn.
Oh yeah. Well, they weren't. She actually, Robin Wright Penn. I did a scene with her, which was cut from the. I don't know if it's going to be back in. David Thewlis, I think, was there. He had like a bald. He's not in the film either.
Yeah, he's not in that one. No.
It's crazy, isn't it, when you think of all these big names and stuff like that?
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet that you got in there. It's quite, yeah.
Oh,
so
I was, So anyway, so we had to do this thing, and it was just so exciting, filming on green screen, huge, big Panavision cameras coming down, and Zack's there going, "Okay, Julian, it's going to be your close-up now," and so then I'm going into makeup to get all my stuff, take it out, right, and take it off rather. And then I'm coming out, and then Robin Wright Penn is walking in, and she went, "Oh, hi." I says, "Oh, hi, Robin. I'm Julian. I was playing the King of Atlantis in the." "Oh, that was you. That was you. Oh my God, that was so beautiful what you did." I was like, really? I was like, I'll take that. Definitely. Robert Wright Penn thought I did something beautiful, so I'll go with that. I'm happy. Yeah. So hey, that was my Robin Wright Penn experience.
Kind of walked out of the room with like your arms stretched out like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, honestly, like massive lats after that, I tell you.
Carrying invisible carpets out of the studio, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's move on to Wales a wee bit. So you're on set with people, these big kind of celebs and these famous people and not so famous people from the US and whatever. What's your experiences of like chatting to these guys and girls, and when you say you're from Wales, do you ever get that kind of blank kind of look, or do they tend to know about Wales and what it is? Because you're very defined by your Welshness, aren't you? You're a very Welsh speaker. You're from the north. You kind of a lot of your work's based in Wales. How do you find that experience of saying I'm from Wales to Americans and Hollywood people, for example?
Obviously, we're not as well known as our Celtic cousins. I think we kind of go under the radar a bit. Maybe not so much now, but we have been for years, really. I mean, people didn't really know, that Anthony Hopkins and Burton was Welsh. I mean, they just used to think of them as British or English, or, it's only recently, I think with like Matthew Rhys, and Johan Griffith and Michael Sheen, and, they've gone on to, scale dizzy heights. And I think they are very Welsh in that regard, but yeah, yeah, it's a strange one. I think once people realise that you're Welsh, it's like they really like it. It's like they know that you're passionate for a start, and that you bring that to whatever you're doing, which is what I always try and do. I wear my heart on my sleeve, but I'll always let people know that I'm Welsh. If they think I'm English, it's like, or British or whatever, it says, no, I'm Welsh,
It's not a straightforward conversation, is it? Like I was engaged to an American lass, like I backpacked a lot, met people from all over the world, and I teach English as a foreign language, so people come here from all over the world, and it's amazing just the percentage of people who have got no knowledge of this being a country. And so I was just wondering, in terms of people like, because you've worked with Eastwood, and I know that like How Green Was My Valley is Clint Eastwood's favorite film, apparently. So just kind of, just wondering about kind of the experiences you may have had with that level of star and how much they know about Wales, really.
So Clint, I think, I'm pretty convinced that he thought I was South African, right? He didn't know I was Welsh. So we're all staying in the Cape Grace Hotel in Cape Town, right? 5-star hotel. I'm on, the same corridor floor as Clint and Matt and Tomster and Tim, the producer, all, you know. And they're treating us like royalty, right? Although I won't mention royalty this morning. Yeah, so then Tom, we're having breakfast, right? So Tom comes down for breakfast. I'm having my bircher muesli, you know, beautiful South African morning. It's summer, the end of summer. And he comes up and he goes, "Julian, I didn't realize you were Welsh. I'm a quarter Welsh and I'm very proud of that." And I was like, "Oh, right, Tom, yeah. I'm Welsh, yeah." And he went, we all thought that you were South African, you know what I mean? And I went, "Yeah, so I must be doing something right, you know." So yeah, so that's the first time really. So Clint says then, we all call him boss, right? But nobody says Clint. Okay, boss, right? He says to Tony, who plays Jason, my ANC equivalent, and me, he goes, "Okay, Tony, I want you to walk up the stairs, and Julian, you walk down the stairs, and you meet here in the middle on the concourse, right? And we're gonna sing the anthem, right? We're gonna sing the anthem, and Tony, I want you to sing the first part, Cozy Sigile, and camera's gonna be real tight on you, real tight. And Julian, the same, you know, you sing the Afrikaans part, you know, camera's gonna be real tight on you." And I'm going, "This is not in the script, man. This is not in the script. Singing the anthem." And I was like, "I'm sure I've gone over everything. There is no reference to us singing the national anthem."
Are you feeling a John Redwood moment?
Well, no, I was never going to do that, right? I was never going to do that. I kind of went, "Oh," and then he did that Clint stay. He goes, "You do know it, right?" And I was like, I then reverted to my purest Ynys Môn. "Well, no, not really." And he went, "Okay, well, I guess you're the strong, silent type, right? Okay, roll cameras." Yeah, but he was, you know, he was a gentleman. He is a gentleman. No fuss, no nonsense, just a lovely, gentle man, you know? And when he speaks, obviously you listen. Sure. Because he has that respect, you know? He didn't need to raise his voice. He didn't raise his voice once. And Clint said, yeah, he did a great job for me. Did a great job for me. And I was like, "Oh, thank you, boss. Thank you very much," you know? I know. I was like, yeah, it was a brilliant film and a brilliant experience.
I'm not going to blow smoke up your bum, obviously, but you, as an actor and a creator, whether you like it or not, you've got a voice, haven't you?
What do you mean, like a voice?
You've got lots of voices, obviously, as you've demonstrated. But
when I say something, you mean people might listen? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, you've got an opportunity to. I think they call it an influencer these days in social media. But so I'm gonna move on to Wales a little bit. Okay. You are a supporter of Welsh independence and Yes Cymru, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, unequivocally. So just recently, like Russell T Davies, scriptwriter, Michael Sheen, people like this have been making a lot of pro-independence noises, which I think is a sea change in terms of how we talk about it. Like Charlotte Church is pretty out; she's involved in Yes Cymru too. And just like this week, one of the actors from Russell T's TV show It's a Sin, a young actor called Callum Scott Howells, came out, if that's the phrase, and was headlined on ITV Wales saying young actor supports Welsh independence. And do you think it's a sign of a growing confidence that we are able to talk about this, that actors, celebs are able now to talk about this?
Yeah, I think the biggest change really has been this younger generation. You know, if I was talking to you about this 20 years ago, you know, it'd be very sort of minority thing. You know, it'd be very sort of, well, they have their little pipe dream, whatever. You know, these Welsh nationalists or whatever you call them, and you know But now it's actually, when you've got, you know, the likes of Eddie Butler, of Phil Steele, who are both from Gwent. You know,
I was amazed when I heard Eddie Butler was involved. I was amazed.
Eddie Butler is a kind of, you know, he's seen as, if you like, the bastion of kind of Anglo-Welshness, if you like, right? Because of, he's from Monmouth and he does the BBC and everything like that. But he's a passionate Welshman. Of course, he played for Wales, you know, and he represents us when he, you know, he's commentating and everything. But I was so impressed when Eddie Butler came out, and, you know, I wasn't there at the rally that he spoke at, but it gives us, you know, it does take us to another level, definitely, you know, because this is no pipe dream now. This is actually happening. The movement is happening, you know, and it's not anti-British, it's not anti-English, it's purely a confidence in ourselves to govern ourselves. We've had to sort of take it on the chin for centuries, just to be told what to do. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you're under central government, you're under Westminster. England tells you to do whatever. But now, it's like, hold on a minute, right? Now, when I look at Westminster, it's like, this is just hot air. You know, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's like, just say the truth, man. You know, it's like, I think that whatever your politics, right, whatever, you know, side you're on as regards Matt Drakeford and Labour and Plaid Cymru, whatever, I think that it has shown a distinct difference of the way we handle things. You know, when I listen to, you know, Matt Drakeford talk, whatever you think of his politics, right, he's a guy who's trying his best and is not, you know, baffling me with BS. You know, I'm a big supporter of Adam Price. I think he's a great guy. He talks a lot of sense. He's very dynamic. He's young. He's passionate. And he doesn't baffle, you know. We need strong voices running our country. We need younger voices. And I think the generation that's coming through now, young people are keen for this. You know, I'm definitely feeling that there's an appetite here for independence, you know, to kind of have a say in what we do and not have London do it like they have done for ages. It's like we have to be apologetic. You know, it's no, we take charge of what we do. You know, and I think that the more people that get involved with this, yes, if you get high profile names, great. But I think getting the younger generation behind this is absolute, you know, of importance to the way that we go on with it, you know, because without the youth, without that voice, it'll just fall apart. This is not about, you know, old guys, you know, like in the 70s talking about the halcyon days of, you know, the 60s, and it's no, that was a movement then. This is a movement now, you know, and we need to get behind it. And it's that confidence, you know, it's like, oh, we'd be a third world country, you know, and I just, no, we wouldn't. Why do you say that? Why do you say we'd be a third world country? Why put ourselves down all the time? Grow a set of bollocks, man.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Why do you need to sort of, oh, no, we're quite happy being told what to do. Yeah, the Welsh have always been good at, you know, at being told what to do. You know, some of the best soldiers and everything like that were Welsh, yeah, because they were very good at taking orders and doing the right thing. But we need to have that confidence in ourselves, that we take charge of ourselves.
And you mentioned that like there's a difference between, yeah, it's all very good having famous people coming out, but the biggest difference is on the ground, isn't it? And like when we started the Cardiff branch of Yes Cymru back in 2017, we even spoke about the fact that it was hard for us to, even within the Yes Cymru bubble, it was hard for us to come out and say, I'm for Welsh independence. Effectively, I'm a Welsh nationalist. And we were talking about the power of just speaking to people on the ground and how that spreads. And when people realise a normal, peaceful person who supports the independence for Wales, which is a totally normal thing, the most power is in them conversations on the ground when people realise that, hang on, this is a normal thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's
it's so normal, and it is, like I say, it's not anti anyone. You know, it's actually about believing in yourself, you know, as people and as a nation.
You mentioned distinctiveness as well. just now.
Yeah.
So to take you back to film for a bit and TV and that, like when I first started doing this on Twitter and YouTube, whatever, some people said to me, I followed you to learn something about film. I wasn't into nationalism. And my response always was, well, there's kind of a crossover there as far as I'm concerned, because we're talking representation. That's the key to what I want to explore is representation rather than either film or nationalism. It's about how Wales is represented. And you spoke in the Senedd, I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
So to take you back to film before, I obviously let you go, you mentioned there that there's something that I'm interested in, where there's kind of this fetish in Wales, which is very much touches on what you're talking about, which is having stuff done for us. Yeah. Where like a lot of the film agencies in Wales and the kind of individuals within it, like they celebrate this hashtag, which is made in Wales. Yeah. But there's not a hashtag which is set in Wales. The hashtag is made in Wales. And you spoke in 2018 about some issues about the difference between them two, So, I mean, you were touching on the fact that, we've got an industry in Cardiff now. We got all the professional skills. We got all the technical crew. But that hasn't translated after 15 odd years into, well, you said films which stand for Wales and films which represent Wales. And like, what do you think is the difference there between those two? And how important is it that we're distinguished in a way that's unique for us?
It starts with government, really. It starts with the top, right? And that should, there should be some kind of quota. I don't know how they work it out, but it happens in Northern Ireland. It happens in South Africa that you have to have a certain amount, right? Now, of people from that country. Yeah, there are a lot of big productions that come to Wales. There are varying reasons for that. The landscapes, for a start, proximity to the M4, that we have coast, we have mountains, we have lakes, rivers, whatever, close. They're all in close proximity to Cardiff, right? A lot of the times. We're cheaper, okay? That's an obvious one, right? It's like people go to Canada, because it's too expensive. Toronto doubles for New York because New York's too expensive. That's just logistics, right? If there's, 5 big productions in Wales, you can probably count on your hand how many Welsh actors will be in those productions, right? I'm not going to name anything, but I think we know what they are. Most of the times, the heads of department will be from London or from whatever, right? You will get Welsh crews working, and Welsh crews a lot of the times are very busy, but there won't be enough of them, right? Or there'll be a lot of crew coming over, right? And obviously they have to stay places, they have to be put up in hotels and everything. So, you are bringing money into the economy. But as regards that product, right, being Welsh,
branded,
it ceases to be Welsh in that sense, right? It's basically, like you say, it's made in Wales. What was so nice, I watched the Pembrokeshire Murders.
Yeah.
Right? Set in Wales, a real life story with Welsh actors.
All of them.
Yeah, which was fantastic.
In fact, with that one, right, they even did something the opposite, which was they made the inspector, Steve Wilkins, he wasn't Welsh in real life. He's from England somewhere. But in that one, they actually made him Welsh because he was Luke Evans. And that was almost the opposite of that trope. So that was fabulous. Like.
I know. I was really impressed with it, and I had a lot of friends in it, and I was thrilled to see them in big roles.
Yeah.
In the biggest hit ITV has had for years, and I thought that was fantastic. Mark Evans did a fantastic job as director, a Welsh director. He cast it with Welsh actors. He filmed it in Wales. And I just thought, we need to have more confidence. We need to have this. It's like, when you look at, we have not much of a film industry in Wales, really, for Welsh film.
Like talking about earlier Hollywood, there's nothing still, really, that you could show like an American and say, right, this is a Welsh film that's going to contextualize our country and demonstrate what it's about. There's still, and like the Americans tend to make them as well. Not just us. The Americans tend to make them films about Scotland and about the Irish. And of course, they make them about England and even the UK. But Hollywood doesn't make them about us either, does it? Yet.
No, not. You hope that will come. You know, I 2 years ago, I was part of a film, The Feast, Byth, which is the first Welsh language horror film, which has got a distribution deal, and it's very stylized. It's Julian Jones that directed it. It'll be interesting to see how well that does, you know. But it's got an American distributor for a Welsh language film.
Wow!
So, which is fantastic. I mean, we saw that with Parasite, you know, in Korean. Do you know what I mean? It's like won the Oscar. So there is a change. There's definitely a change, and you know what you get in a way is like. From, you know, Westminster central government is that Welsh is seen as a foreign language.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of labelled as a foreign language in our own land. You know, we are the original Brythonic people. You know, our language is, you know, a couple of thousand years old. You know, English is relatively new, but we are the foreign language, or seen as the foreign langue. And you think, come on now.
Even the word Wales itself does kind of
foreigner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm you know, I'm optimistic. The glass is always half full, but we need to have, you know, this. I think this confidence, you know, hopefully it'll resonate, you know, in our youth, you know, in our young people, that they're the future. They, you know, they've got the chance to do this, you know, and the more people get behind, you know, the Yes Cymru movement and this pride. National pride, I think that, you know, we have it, but it's not a bad thing. It's not, you know, xenophobic, or it's not you know, trying to be exclusive or anything. It's just a confidence.
Yeah,
it's just purely a confidence issue.
Confidence to be normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if there's one, I'll, you know, let you go. If there's one message for the people and the young people of Wales from JLJ,
just let your voice be heard. Don't be afraid, you know. Don't be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve and be confident in who you are, where you're from, wherever you go in the world. You know, it's don't hide behind the fact that you're Welsh. You know, it's a wonderful thing to be, and not at the expense of anyone else at all. But just be proud of who you are, what you stand for, and where you come from.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
So
to all the Welsh and overseas other humans watching, if you like that message, if you approve that message, you know what to do with your social media thumbs. I'm Nick. This is Wales in the Movies. This is Julian Lewis Jones. I'm going to say both a big hwyl fawr. Ta-ra.
Diolch yn fawr.